Hivers! Happy 3 Tune Tuesday, everybody. Hope everybody's good on this lovely early Tuesday morning. I guess I'll be actually posting this. Oh no, my phone's jacked. Oh, that sucks. One of my devices is a little bit jacked after I dropped it. That sucks. Well, what are you going to do? Anyway, I've been doing these 90s Friday posts. I focus purely on music, generally speaking. And since New Year's Eve, I decided to start the year off going from 1990 to the year 2000. 1994, I split into a couple weeks. 95, same thing. I think 96 is just going to be a standalone. 97, 98, 99 might split up a little bit. Just because that's kind of when I came up, so I probably just am, I'm into more music from that period. Plus, I want to showcase some punk bands that were a little lesser known and bring you some bonus jams from just songs I missed along the way, which there are quite a few. Just showcasing mostly my favorite stuff, but throwing in a couple big tunes that I just think are really relevant, even if they're not necessarily my favorite. So I had Beastie Boys on the mind. I kept thinking, it's pretty crazy that they didn't have an album out from 94 to 98, but then you look at it, the 94 record's basically a double album. They could have made so much more money just holding back some material from their huge long albums and just putting out some mediocre stuff and sold millions of albums, and they didn't do it. A band like the Chili Peppers, they didn't have those extra tunes they could stretch. When John Frusciante left the band, and probably because of some serious heroin abuse and drug abuse, they put out a killer record, album number 5 in 1991. John leaves the band in 92, 93. And they had a huge hit in 93 from a soundtrack, but they recorded it the same sessions for their 91 record. They put out an album in 95 with a new guitarist with Dave Navarro filling in, and that album is terrible. John Frusciante comes back, they record Californication, monster album in 1999. So it's pretty interesting, Some of these iconic bands, the Chili Peppers have to take the cake with, that's a band that should have had more good music out in the 90s. You think every other year, a lot of bands, when they have a monster album, they'll take an extra year. No Doubt took 5 years and it ruined them. I think that album from 95 was so big, Tragic Kingdom. I totally get touring an extra year and not releasing an album 2 years later. But to wait to the year 2000 was just a huge mistake. But anyway, I'm talking tunes I'm not even picking today. I was looking at some stuff, and in my head I kept thinking Beastie Boys had an album out in 96. But no, it was 89, 92, 94, 98, and then they take a long break to the year 2004. Easily could have milked it, put out probably some pretty decent music, forced themselves to write more songs, but they went at their own pace when they felt like, they had something to say. And I gotta say, as the years go by, I always liked the Beastie Boys. They really are, just one of the most consistently reliable bands to put out good music. I think if they had known that their days were numbered, they might have put out some more music. It was 2004. They had a weird kind of jazz fusion instrumental album in 2007. And then they had a regular album in 2011. So they definitely took some long breaks as they got older. But that 86, 89, 92, 94, 98 album, that 5-album run, is some of the most reliable good music you'll ever hear. So, I'll make sure when I talk Hello Nasty, the 1998 album, I'll make sure I pick a different tune that I'm picking today, so I don't, overdo sharing the same song. But first up, from the album Check Your Head, there's so many good songs here, man. Oh, which one do I want to pick? I'm going to go Pass the Mic. I just love that song. I think it's my favorite song from the album. Again, 1992's Check Your Head. Same record that had the song What You Want, What You Want. This song just kicks ass. I just love the beat. I just think it reminds me of driving in New York City at like 3 a.m, just driving down the city. City never sleeps, at least not back then. Now it's kind of lame, to be honest. Ever since COVID, it just, they actually managed to shut down an entire city. I'll never forget taking a drive just to scope it out in 2020. And it was a ghost town. Strangest feeling I ever had in my life. One of the strangest feelings. But anyway, Pass the Mic from 1992's Check Your Head. That's the first tune up. Then we move on to the 94 album, Ill Communication. This is tough. There's a lot of good songs. I'm going to go with Sure Shot. I just think it's a good song. Again, this is basically a double album. A lot of good music. They actually recorded a lot of punk rock for this album. They ended up putting a couple songs on it, but they ended up actually doing an EP that's all punk rock from 1995. The following year they released it. But there's a lot. How many tracks are on this record? 20 tracks. So again, they could have held some of these back and just put out more music. Obviously, Sabotage was the big hit. You got the song Tough Guy, Do It. Just great stuff. All right, let's see here. What was the name of that EP? Singles and EPs. Let me see here. Okay. Hard to pronounce. But you got 8 songs. They could have recorded 2 or 3 more songs and just had this be a main album. And it would have sold millions of records. But this is an all punk rock EP. Angelo E. Olo. I think I'm saying it right. I'm thinking I'm going to have to pick an extra bonus jam off of that. Just so we cover the 90s all in all. But yeah, I'll pick Sure Shot. I'm going to, these are songs that were singles, but they're just some of my favorites. Third pick, moving on to 1998's Hello Nasty. I think I'm going to save Intergalactic for my 90s Friday post, 1998. That'll be in a few weeks. So I'm going to go with 3 MCs and 1 DJ. The music video version is a little bit different than the album version. They recorded it live at, I think it was like the European MTV Awards. And it's literally recorded in one take. Literally. And I love it. It's funny. I remember having MTV, being in like 8th grade, 9th grade, and Intergalactic. Body Movin', which is not one of my favorite songs, was the second single. Huge, all over MTV. And I don't really remember them playing 3 MCs and 1 DJ very often. I guess because of the format, it's kind of stripped down, just hip hop, with literally their DJ scratching. I think it's genius, and I'm going to give you the music video version. Again, a little bit different than the album version. I just think it's an iconic track, visually, musically, everything about it. So those are my 3 picks. And then bonus jam, like I said, I'm going to go to the following album, 5.5, 6 year hiatus. They released the single Check It Out. Actually, it's pronounced Check It Out. But An Open Letter to NYC is probably my favorite song on the record. Might be because I grew up in the suburbs of NYC and I actually know a lot of the stuff they're talking about. Again, another album with almost 20 songs, Again, easily, they could have saved other songs, wrote a few more, and just done 2 albums. We could easily be talking about the Beastie Boys having 11 albums instead of 7. It's mad respect. They didn't do the money grab thing. Nobody knew what was coming in the 2000s with, digital downloads and all that stuff. But your time's numbered, so I just think they easily could have just put out some, made sure they had 4 or 5, singles and just put a bunch of filler on there and they could have made, millions more dollars. But instead, similar to Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails, where he took years in between records, but they were the first four or five, especially, were just genius records. He put out a 1992 EP that was basically a full length with the song "Wish." So those are two artists that, for the sole reason of just not wanting to just put out anything mediocre, very often took extra time where they could have gotten something out sooner and made a lot of money. They could have had that hit single on it and just said, all right, it's going to be huge. Who cares if there's some filler tracks? No, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. Where a band like Green Day, I think, did do that. They didn't take much time, and they still had those hits. A band that I do have to credit for why I picked up a guitar when I was, a young man, barely in middle school. But a band that definitely has a lot of filler on some of their albums. I don't think Dookie has much filler. I think almost every track's pretty good. But Green Day's albums, they put out a follow-up in 95. Then they had a 97 album. I think those albums after Dookie have some filler. The Offspring, I think there's a little bit of filler, even though I think they have some amazing songs. The Kids Aren't Alright from 1998's Americana is one of my favorite songs of all time. Not even just the 90s, just all time. It's probably in my top 20. But there's definitely some filler, There's bands that just, they know they got the hits and, they're not giving you like 20 or 18 songs that are all pretty damn good. Those are my three picks with probably a little more niche music talk than you really needed. Oh, and then I'm going to go an extra bonus jam from that EP from 1995. I'm going to give it a listen. I'm not sure what song I'm going to give you, but it's literally a punk. Check out the album. I'll put the album info. Everything will be below. You'll have the 3 tunes and then 2 bonus jams. Check out the 8-song EP if you're interested in hearing the Beastie Boys play punk rock. It's very interesting, and frankly, I think they just should have released a full-length album and singles that were these punk songs. I think it would have been interesting. But nonetheless, cool, we got an EP. Enjoy the 5 tunes, 3 plus 2. And again, if you're a big music fan here on Hive, check out what I'm doing on 90s Friday. I've also been kind of filling some space doing 80s Saturday, Y2K Wednesday or Thursday, just because I was doing these football contests and now the season's over and I didn't really know what to post. Maybe I'll even bring you some Y2K tunes, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. We'll see. But definitely swing by. For 90s Friday is the main one I want to promote. So swing by, and I love you guys. Later.